and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer Diamond, and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach. I'm living a whole food, plant-exclusive, SOFAs-free, and gluten-free lifestyle. And it literally gave me my life back. I know it can help you with yours too. I had everything from terrible chronic fungal sinusitis, 3 sinus surgeries, a tumor in my pituitary gland that was removed surgically, and small fiber neuropathy, and the list goes on and on. And so I'm so glad to have everybody with me here today in our talk. And I just want to take a minute here and just say hello to those of you who are in the chat. So I just want to say hi, Gina S. Welcome. So good to see you. I'm glad you like the live shows. Lisa's in the house. Hello, Lisa. Good afternoon. And is it Anne? Anne, greetings. So glad you're here. Everybody, welcome. And if you're here and you are interested in communicating with us, we love it. So go ahead and put any questions or comments, or just say hello and let us know where you're from in the chat. If you're watching this as a replay, you could do the same and we will respond as soon as we can. So anyways, today I thought that it would be fun to talk about nuts and seeds, right? Lots of people incorporate them into a whole food plant-based lifestyle. Now, I do want to say that there are people who limit their intake to 1 ounce of nuts and seeds per day, as suggested by Dr. Goldhammer at True North Health Center, and others who don't ingest them due to heart disease. And I've learned that through Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn with his book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, and more books. But for the rest of us that are eating them, I thought it would be kind of a fun topic to discuss, because most people don't really know if they're processed, how they're processed. Should you soak your nuts and seeds? And what soaking even does, right? Which ones to soak, how to prepare them properly. There is so much to this. And, you know, we snack on them. We blend them into sauces. You can toss them on salads, use them to make everything from like creamy vegan cheeses, which isn't really cheese at all, but it helps give us that kind of texture, to even like energizing your trail mixes, right? But you might not have given them much thought beyond that. And so I thought it would be fun to do that today. So we're going to start with a question. What is your favorite nut to snack on or use in a salad or any kind of meal? What is your favorite nut? And, you know, I say nut, you could put a seed if it's your favorite nut, or seed. Let's do that. And while you guys are putting that in the chat, I'm just going to talk a little bit more and then we'll check into there. I will say hello, Course Scorpy. Anne says, love nuts and seeds, a bit at every meal for food fat. Great. That's awesome. Gina S says, oh, hi, Annette, welcome. Nan, welcome. Everybody is tuning in. This is so fun. And I started to say that Gina S said hello to Nanette. And so that's great. Everybody's chatting. Anne says walnuts or sunflower seeds. And we are going to talk about that in a little bit. Yes, thank you. So now, okay. I know that there are people who are trying to lose weight or improve their heart health, and some people might just be allergic to nuts or not enjoy them. And that's okay. You know, I just wanted to reference that it isn't for everyone, but you know, of course, please know that this is just information that you can use or share with others that do eat nuts and seeds. And this is not me trying to convince you to add them to your diet if you've been trying to stay away from them. So I just wanted to make that clear. And of course, if there's any issues, you always want to check with your doctor, your healthcare professional or provider to make sure that things are safe for you, especially when we're talking about food allergies and things like that. So, okay, what is your favorite nut or seed to snack on or use in salads and meals? What do we have here? We have Walnut and sunflower seeds from Anne. Nan says cashew. Course Scorpy, easy, cashew. Lisa, cashew and pistachio. Todd put pecans. Gina S, Brazil nuts and pumpkin seeds. Ooh. Okay, so we have quite the variety in there, and you guys are making me hungry. Yeah, and that says walnuts. And that's great. So everybody is familiar and does have a favorite or two, and that's really fun. Okay, so you can keep adding in if you want to, and we'll continue to check back. But I wanted to start with the basics, right? So here's a question. What are nuts really, right? What are nuts? Well, a nut is a seed that comes in a hard-shelled exterior. I was hoping to have some of those, but I don't today. But around the holidays, we get walnuts in their whole form, and some people are really lucky because they live near trees and things like that. But so the nut is a seed that comes in a hard-shelled exterior, right? And botanically speaking, a nut is technically a fruit with a single seed inside of it. So you could think like chestnuts or hazelnuts, acorns. But in the food world, we often call seeds and legumes, yes, legumes, nuts. So like almonds, that would actually be a seed. Cashews, that would also be a seed. Peanuts, that's a tricky one, if anyone knows, but I'm going to share anyways. Technically, peanuts are not nuts. They're legumes. And it's kind of funny to think about all this, but we'll still refer to all of these as nuts today for this conversation because they're used similarly in our kitchens and offer similar nutrition. So let's see. I'm going to check the chat real quick. John Ju, hello, nice to see you. And John Ju says, I eat nuts every day and in pretty good quantities. Also, a legume, yes. Peanuts, you're right. Okay, so when we talk about seeds or the seed inside the nut, it's the plant's reproductive unit. So think about sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. Those are all really good examples. So while all nuts are technically seeds, not all seeds are nuts. You got it? It's a little confusing. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Okay, so both nuts and seeds are nutrient dense, with seeds often containing even higher levels of certain minerals that are especially rich in the omega-3 fatty acids. So those would be seeds like chia seed and flaxseed. Those are excellent sources of the ALA, alanidonic. Oh God, I messed that up. Oh gosh, now I'm forgetting acid. You look that up for me and say that for me. I appreciate it. But a plant-based omega-3, and it helps reduce inflammation. And I do have some here, so I'm just going to point them out right now. So this is a golden flaxseed, if you are not familiar with flaxseed, and I buy them in the full form and grind them up. But we're going to talk about other things regarding that. Is it alidonic acid?
It is alpha-linolenic acid.
Oh, okay.
So close.
So close. Thank you for clearing that up.
Of course.
And then we also talked about chia seeds. So, okay, yeah. So this is the golden, right? And over here, I have the brown flaxseed. So you can get them in different colors. I can pour this out of the bag if you guys want to see it close up, but it's the same thing, only in the dark. And then, of course, I have the same thing with the chia, although I don't think I have the light colored white chia seeds right now, but I do have the dark ones, and I like to use them all. But anyways, they help with omega-3s, and that helps with our reduction of inflammation. Yeah, alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. Woo! Okay, so thanks for hanging in there with me. So before I go into a question that I have for you, I want to just check the chat. And Todd says, this is nuts. Okay. Core Scorpy said, this is so confusing. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Well, there is a lot to it. Let me just go see if I can check the chat. And just let's see. Oh, Annette has a question. Do peanuts have the same fat content as other nuts? Do you want to check into that? I'm not really sure. I could guess, but I'd like to make sure that my guess is correct. So we'll check on that. Todd is going to check on that. Do peanuts have the same fat content as other nuts? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they don't have the same fats because I believe that a lot of different nuts have different fats, right? So I think like Brazil nuts are very, very high and so forth and so on. Go ahead.
Are you talking about monounsaturated fats?
She just said, do peanuts have the same fat content as other nuts?
Peanuts, oddly enough, do not have the same, or do
Oh,
not
I was
have the
right.
highest, and are not the same as other nuts.
So I got it right.
For monounsaturated fat, macadamia is actually the highest.
Oh, yes, I'm sure it is. What is it, 22?
16.7.
Okay. Look at me. I'm close. I was close.
Yep.
Okay. So
Followed by hazelnut, and then my favorite, the pecan.
the pecan. Todd loves a good pecan nut. We've got some soaking here. And hazelnut. Okay, we had some. We don't have any right now. So that's very good. Yeah. So hopefully that helps clear that up.
So for Annette, peanut comes in at a 6.8.
Wow, much lower. Much lower.
And just for the record, according to this chart at least, the nut with the lowest monounsaturated fat content per serving is walnut at 2.5.
And walnut is a kind of a special nut also because it offers the omega-3s. It also kind of looks like, I have these soaking here, but it kind of looks like a brain, you know, when it's, well, these are pieces, but when you open it, and it's really good for brain health. So thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. And thank you, Annette, for the great question. We're all learning here together. And so I appreciate that. So here is a question for you guys, okay? And hopefully you're going to enjoy this one. How many of you remember the clay figurine from the 1970s and the 1980s with the song that goes, cha-cha-cha-chia, cha-cha-cha-chia? Okay, let me know in the chat if you guys are familiar with that. Okay, so Core Scorpy, seeds are nuts and nuts are fruit. Did I get that right? Yes, you did. Good listening. Okay, and let me just scroll here. Oh, and Todd said, botanically speaking, you're correct. This is great, you guys. It's fun. Annette says, thanks. I buy peanuts in the shell sometimes. Okay, awesome. That is really fun. So while you guys are putting your response in the comments, I'll tell you that, yes, they're still fun to grow on clay figurines, but they can also be a healthful addition to your diet. Do you know what I'm talking about? I kind of already brought it up. I'm wondering if anybody knows.
Gina S. says, of course.
Ah!
And now she's going to sing that song all day.
Okay, yes. Chia seeds. Let's talk about them. Here they are again. And I said they come in the dark as well as the light. And you know what? I didn't pour some out, but maybe I will, just so people, if you're not familiar, you can kind of get an idea. There are these little tiny, tiny seeds, and they're amazing. Chia seeds come from the desert plant. Let's see if I can pronounce this right. Salva hispansia. Is that close enough? And actually, it's actually a member of the mint family, which I thought was really interesting. Its origin is believed to be from Central America, where the seed was a staple in the ancient Aztec diet, right? The seeds of a related plant, the salva Combaria, which is easier to say, golden chia, were used primarily by the Native Americans in the southwestern United States. So chia seeds have gained attention as an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, and they are also an excellent source of dietary fiber. They give 10 grams per ounce. So that's about 2 tablespoons, and they contain protein and minerals, which are including things like iron. I'm always watching about iron, right? Iron, calcium, magnesium, and zinc. And so there's some research that suggests including chia seeds as a part of a healthful eating lifestyle may help reduce cardiovascular risk factors by lowering your cholesterol, lowering your triglycerides, and even your blood pressure. Flax seeds, which are the other amazing one, I'm going to show, let's see, where are the flax seeds? So we have the golden flax seed here. And the flaxseed was originally, I'm going to get a little bit closer because I want you guys to be able to see. These are not ground. These are in their whole form. And if you ate them in your whole form, well, they would just go right through you. So you'd want to grind them up fresh when you're ready. But they were originally a native to the Mediterranean region and is currently cultivated in many parts of the world. So you can get the flaxseed in cultivated in Canada, Russia, the United States, right? All those places. Now, I'm familiar with Dr. Brooke Goldner. If you guys are familiar with Dr. Brooke Goldner from goodbyelupus.com, I can tell you she recommends incorporating up to a half a cup, maybe even more, of ground flax seeds to help reverse autoimmune diseases, which is incredible. It's just such a wonderful addition to our bodies. So in the United States here, where we are in Arizona, but in the United States, flax seeds are mostly grown in North Dakota and Minnesota. I thought that was interesting. The seeds are harvested when the flax plants mature and produce small brown or golden colored seeds like I showed you. Those seeds can then be processed and used in various ways, such as in food, in oil, or pressed as oil, flaxseed oil, and other products. And I know Dr. Brooke Goldner talks a lot about flaxseed oil as being her only oil that she recommends to her patients. So in short, nuts and seeds go hand in hand. And when it comes to using them in meals, they follow similar principles, which we're going to get into in a bit. Okay, so let's check the chat. Who remembers the chia pet? Who remembers? Yes, and Gina S. did say, of course. Core Scorpy. Oh, yes. Let's see. So seeds are nuts and nuts are fruit, but seeds aren't fruit, or they would be.
It sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing.
And then Nan says, yes, I remember. I want to make sure that we answer Core Scorpy if that is a question. And it looks like Todd did. Nuts are hard shells, and he goes on to saying that. And so anyways, thanks everybody. And we were recently in Sedona, and we have a little video on that. And was it in Sedona where we were shopping? Yes. We went, our group went into a Goodwill. They wanted to go and see, there was one lady in particular that said, I want to go see what they have there. And we went in there. We didn't buy anything there, but we did see a Bob Ross chia pet. Remember that? So that's really funny. Yes, and that says, OMG, I remember. Okay, so nuts are nutrient-dense powerhouses that contain healthy fats, meaning the monounsaturated and the polyunsaturated fats, which are types of unsaturated fats, right? Nuts also contain protein, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and we had mentioned already about magnesium, but zinc and even vitamin E. So they all contain phytonutrients, which are also called phytochemicals or antioxidants, you may have heard, which are compounds produced by the plants that provide health benefits to the body and antioxidants, which I love because that gets rid of free radicals and it's just amazing for us. And in addition to the health benefits, they're an amazing way to add richness and texture and nourishment to your meals, especially when you're living like me, a whole food, plant exclusive lifestyle. Okay, so now let's talk about how nuts go from being on the tree to being on your table or your plate or in your mouth. Many nuts are processed in ways that we don't always realize. So even if a bag says raw, which would you grab the cashew nut bag? I want to see. I think that one says raw on it, and this one does too. So I'm going to grab this one. So you get a bag like this one. This is Brazil nuts, and you can see that it says right here, the true organic Brazil nut raw. Right there, it says raw, and it talks about it being sustainable, unsalted, kosher, gluten-free, and so on. And right on here, I'll just tell you while we're here, superfood, selenium, that's a great one. Protein, zinc, magnesium. And yes, thank you. Does this one say, I was wondering if it said raw. Thank you, sweetheart. It doesn't say raw, but sometimes I have gotten, it does on the backside.
It has a raw logo.
I see. Okay. Well, he went and got it. So I will show you this bag of cashew nuts, even though it doesn't say it here on the front. Look, yes, right there. If you can see it, let me see how we can get a glare. Can you see that? Okay, so it says non-GMO, raw, and vegan. At any rate, my point is that I want you to be aware that some nuts that come in bags that say raw doesn't mean they're raw, right? The nuts may have been pasteurized, steamed, or even flash heated. So that's confusing because I know when people are living a raw vegan lifestyle, then they buy a raw nut or seed, they think it's raw, but it's not, right? And so like we just talked about, for example, the cashew nuts are almost never truly raw because they need to be steamed to remove the toxic compounds that are in their shells. So here's a question. I want to know, did you know that many raw nuts at the store are actually heat treated? Or were you surprised by that? Let me know, because I was really surprised by that. So almonds sold in the United States labeled raw typically have been heat treated to comply with our food safety regulations. And when you're in the store buying nuts, look for the ones, if you're trying to eat as clean as possible, look for the ones that are listed as raw, organic, unsalted, and unroasted. So this will give you the least processed version of the nut and the best starting point if you're planning to soak them. And we are going to talk about soaking them. So I want to check the chat here. I want to know, did you know that? Were you surprised by that? That many raw nuts at the store are actually heat treated. And so right now I'm not seeing anything except I'm seeing plant powered peddler Janet. Hello, welcome. So good to see you. And so, yeah, if you are interested in still answering that question, I would love to hear about it, and go ahead and put it in the chat, and we will check the chat again. Okay. Oh, and I see Colleen here. Hello, Colleen, welcome. Okay. So we were just talking about soaking a little bit. So speaking of soaking, and you can see I have a lot of different variety of nuts soaking. Look at this. They're in this water, and we're going to talk about it. Why do we soak our nuts and seeds in the first place? Now, I never used to do that, but I started doing it because I learned that there are two main reasons. The two main reasons are, number one, better digestion. So if you're having a problem with digestion and you're eating nuts and seeds, maybe that would help. And the second thing is to improve your nutrient absorption. I'm going to wipe my fingers on this towel. So like for me, I was told to eat pumpkin seeds, which I think we have some right here. Pumpkin seeds right here, because that helps with iron. But I didn't know that I should do this process to help improve the nutrient absorption. So now if I'm doing that, I know, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys as well. So nuts and seeds naturally contain an enzyme, inhibitors, and phytic acid. So these are natural protective substances that help keep the nut from sprouting until the conditions that it's growing in are right. And what do I mean by that? Like enough rain and enough sunlight, which is great, right? But for us humans, they can make it harder to digest the nuts and make it harder for our bodies to absorb key minerals like zinc and calcium and iron. So that's why soaking nuts is important, and that's why I started to do that. And so soaking mimics what happens in nature, right? So it wakes up the nut. So you soak it and it wakes up the nut. It begins breaking down those inhibitors and activates the enzymes that make the nutrients more bioavailable. And this is really especially important if you eat a lot of nuts and seeds, or you have a sensitive digestive system, or you're trying to maximize the mineral absorption, which we already mentioned. Plus, soaking them can mellow out any bitterness. Sometimes nuts and seeds have a bitterness, and you might not even notice it until you taste them side by side. And that would be true especially in the walnuts. It also, by soaking them, can improve the texture. All right, we're going to check one more time. Have you ever, oh, hold on. We've got a question here. Go ahead. You want to read that one, Todd? Because I can't see it right there.
Core Scorpy was saying that he recently learned phytic acid is like a shield around the nut, which is hard to digest and absorb the nutrients beneath the shield. So soaking in water helps to break down that barrier.
Yes, wonderful. And hopefully that was really clear. And thank you so much for sharing. And so I just, I see nobody's really talking about this anywhere else. And so I appreciate you sharing that. You've recently learned that. Okay. Have you ever soaked your nuts or seeds before? Let me know in the chat. And if you have, if you say yes, can you share which ones? Have you ever soaked your nuts and seeds before? So I'll answer my own question while you guys are writing that. And I'm going to say yes. And I have the finished product on some of them right here. We're going to go through that in a little bit. And which ones have I done so far? The walnuts and almonds. And I've got a bunch here that we're going to do together. So what I want to also ask you is, do all nuts need to be soaked first? No, they don't. Almonds, walnuts, pecans, hazelnuts, Brazil nuts contain higher levels of the phytic acid. So although you don't have to, soaking improves digestibility and nutrient availability, which we have mentioned now. But on the other hand, cashews, macadamia nuts, pistachio nuts, peanuts, pine nuts, all those, and I have some of them here, don't usually need to be soaked. Now, if you're going to soak cashew, macadamia nuts, pistachio nuts, peanuts, or pine nuts, just be aware that for cashews, when the longer soaking period, soaking time makes them kind of slimy or mushy, it even changes the color to a gray. I remember doing a recipe with Marianne about a year or so ago, and we were teaching how she did this raw love loaf. You can check it out if you look back in our history, and she had us soaking the nuts. And then I had seen that the cashew nuts couldn't soak as long because they did change to this weird kind of green color, or gray, I should say. Now, why does that happen? Well, they've probably already been steamed during the shelling process, and because they have softer fats. So they're creamier, right? For macadamia nuts, soaking is is optional, and they can actually go rancid faster, which is like go bad, not good after they've been soaked. So the same is true for pine nuts. And as for pistachios, well, most of the pistachios are roasted or steamed, so soaking isn't really going to be beneficial. But for the rest of them, how do you actually do it? So we're going to talk about that right now. I do want to show you, I do have some pistachios, and these are out of the shell. And I feel like the ones that we were talking about, the pistachio, the pine nut, which I have here, the cashew, they're a softer, macadamia, which I don't have, I said. And so if you've ever noticed the creamy kind of softness to it, I'm going to show you right here. These are the pine nuts. They're little tiny. They're kind of expensive in our area, but they won't. It's not as beneficial or helpful. And plus, if you don't use them right away, which I'm going to talk about later, they can create mold. So that's not good. I want to just check the chat here. Hold on a second. Let me go. Whoops. Let's see. Oh, I was looking for, Core Scorpy says, my mom taught me that. Okay. Well, very smart, very smart. Ann says, yes, almonds. Lisa, I only soak my nuts when blending them into creams. Okay. Well, maybe by the end here, you might, change your mind or consider doing it differently. John Jew, yes, cashews, a great base for dressings and sauces. Tanya's here. Hello, Tanya. Welcome. Colleen says, same with me as John Jew. So I also used to soak my almonds when making almond milk. And Tanya's just tuning in. Welcome. Marley, hey, hello. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm glad that you made the live also. And I'm just seeing, is there any other things? Let's see. Tanya says, I don't soak all the time, but I do soak my almonds overnight in the refrigerator for my almond milk. And Annette says, I often soak cashews for sauces and mayo. So you can make all kinds of amazing things. And so I want to talk about the best place to start, right, is with the raw organic nuts or seeds. So place them in a glass bowl. I have some here. And then you can cover them if you want. You're going to want to cover them completely with water. I use plenty of filtered water. And I don't add salt, but some people add a pinch of salt to it to help neutralize the enzymes inhibitors. But you know what? I think you could probably use a little lemon juice. I didn't. I just used the water, and I thought it was really fine. And so I soaked it for 24 hours, and it was in the refrigerator. But there are, different nuts you can soak for different periods of time. So for almonds, they say 8 to 12 hours, but like I said, I did 24 hours. Walnuts, you could do as least amount as like 6 to 8 hours. But again, I did mine overnight, or 12 hours. 12 to 24 hours is what I've been doing. Peanuts, I haven't soaked peanuts yet, but I've heard that at least 7 hours or as up to 24 hours. Now, I'm not sure, maybe because that's a legume. Cashews, don't over soak your cashews. If you want to soak your cashews and you're going to use them right away, like some people had mentioned, I personally, in a little bit of warm water, would do it 10 minutes up to 30 minutes. If it's going to be cooler water, then I would say don't go over an hour or two because I think that's plenty. Pumpkin seeds, which we haven't really talked about a lot. It showed them here. I haven't done them personally yet. I am going to. These are heirloom pumpkin seeds. And so 6 to 8 hours. So for me, I'd probably do 12 hours. Sunflower seeds. I think we have sunflower seeds here. Here we go. You can soak sunflower seeds 4 to 6 hours. So, that's a lot of information to think about. Oh, this one, I don't remember how long to soak it and so forth. So for me, I just go with the 12-hour, the 24-hour mark for the hardier ones. And with things like cashews and the softer ones, if I am going to soak it, I'm going to do it within like a half an hour. And so just to give you an idea. Now, I want to talk about a quick tip here. So if you sprout using like jars like I do, I sprout things, you can use these jars, these sprouting jars with the screens here. When you're not using them for sprouting, or if you have extra, they're extremely handy because you can just drain the water by pouring them right over the sink there, and not have to get another dirty bowl out, which is kind of cool, I thought. I mean, if you're okay with it, you can even pour it in your garden. But if you don't have a sprout screen, just a set of colander, inside of a bowl, which is what I'm going to do. You can strain it that way. Just be sure that the bowl is large enough to hold all the water. That's the worst thing you want to do, is have the bowl too small, smaller than the one that you're pouring out of, and then water goes everywhere. But you can also set a colander in the sink and strain it there too. And that, I think, is probably the most convenient. So I have a couple of those here. I thought we would just take a quick look here. So here is an extra bowl I have. And to start, I am going to, these are Brazil nuts, and they've been soaking. And I would like you guys to take a little look at the water, if you can see it. It's not too bad. It's a little, could you explain that, like murky? It's like, yeah, okay. So with the screen, that really is nice and simple. Now, we're gonna also wanna rinse the nuts or seeds. We're gonna wanna rinse them and make sure that they're really, really clean. So I'm gonna do that here really quick, just so that we can do it, see. And if you don't wanna do it this way, I'm just gonna dump it in here. You can do it with the colander and then rinse it over the sink. But you're going to want to make sure that these are rinsed really, really well. And then you're going to be putting them over there, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Any questions or anything going on you want to share, Todd?
You have a couple questions.
Okay, I'm spilling the water out. Go for it.
Colleen would like to know, what are you going to use all those nuts for?
That is a great question. Well, I'll tell you, after I'm done with the process of this, soaking, rinsing, and dehydrating them, then I will be putting them in jars like this, which I'm going to talk to you about, or I can just talk now about it. I label them and I put them in the refrigerator, so they're ready to go when I need them. You can even freeze them as well. So I am not planning on using all of these right now. That would be probably a bad day for me. Lots of fat. So thanks for asking. Now, I want to show you, well, I have two different kinds of almonds. I have Spanish almonds, and I have like the regular almonds. I kept a couple of them aside, and I have some here, and I thought Todd and I could taste them and let you know if there's a difference. But just for, let's see, I'm going to put this here and see if we can let you guys see the water. Let's see. Oh yeah, see? Now I'm going to have to definitely rinse these, but look at this water. Look at that. Look at that. That's the enzyme, right? Can you see that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to spill that out. And let's see. I might have you come and help me. But you want to just tell me what's going on in the chat? I'm just going to rinse these. And because I want to be able to show you how, the full process. So I'm just going to set these aside. Go ahead, Todd.
So Marley asked, are those screen lids from the Sprout Guy?
It is a sprouting kit. And I think it was, I can't remember if it was from the Sprout Guy, but I know that I get a lot of stuff from Sprouting House, and I can check and put it in the chat afterwards if you're interested in getting some. That would be great. Good question. Thank you.
And then John Juice asks, how important is organic versus not when buying nuts?
Well, I think that's a personal preference. For me, it's very important because I don't want any of the sprays that are typically sprayed on the fields that are not organic. Now, does that mean organic fields or trees or whatever don't have any kind of sprays? No, they do, but they're different. They're not the like Roundup or glyphosate or any of that stuff. So for me, if I were going to be able to make the choice, I always go organic. So, but do what works best for you. And if it's something that you can't afford or you can't find in your area, that's, you know, soaking it and rinsing it will help. And of course, these have been taken out of the shell. So that's another step closer to having protection. So that's what I would say. Anything else? Okay, so once you finish soaking them, you drain them, you rinse them, right? You want to rinse them with clean water. Then you're gonna, if you weren't already amazed at how much the water changes color, and we can do it for these too if there's time. But that, like I mentioned, that's the phytic acid and the tannins that's being released. Okay, what is that, right? I haven't said that before. Tannins are like little plant helpers, right? So plants, including nuts, have them to keep themselves safe from things that might try to eat them before they're ready to be picked or eaten. They can make sure make the nuts taste kind of bitter or dry if you eat the nuts with their skin still on them. So tannins in the nuts coats are like a mild, don't eat me yet kind of sign to the animals. They might make the nuts taste a little bit funny, but they also have very helpful jobs inside the nut. So now you've soaked your nuts. Now what? Okay, if you're planning to use them right away, then go right ahead and use them like we talked about with the cashews, or even these, you know, these are ready to go right now, right? But if you're not, then you can, then, you know, are you going to store them in the fridge? Well, maybe for a day, but I wouldn't do that for very long because they've absorbed a lot of water, and with all that moisture, they will mold, which I had mentioned earlier. So what do you do then? You dehydrate them, of course. And I want to ask you guys, here's a question. Do you have a dehydrator at home? Or if you already soak your nuts, do you use the oven to dry them? So I have the Excalibur, and I wanted to put did you put a link up there for Excalibur across the screen right now? Or in the chat? Where should people look for that?
It is in the video description.
Okay, in the video description. And also, this is a 9 shelf, and they do sell smaller ones. If you're going to get one, if you're interested, I'm pointing it out to you. If you're not interested, you can still do this and be successful. You would just have to do it in the oven, and you would just have to do it at a very low temperature so that they don't burn. So when I do this, I'm doing it anywhere between 90 degrees to 115. Anything over that, you can lose the enzymes. So I want to show you, let's see. I have some sitting here that I did, and these are the finished walnuts, right? This is a smaller batch because the full batch is here too. Let's see, I'll show you this. So all of this was what I had left over in a bag, and so I went ahead and did it. I want to show you this because we're going to try some, but I'm also going to take one of the shelves off. And Todd, will you come help me for a minute?
I would be delighted.
Yay, everybody gets to see Todd. Oh my gosh. Okay, so say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so what we're going to do is the nuts that we just rinsed and drained, these are the regular almonds. We're going to go ahead. Whoops, I want people to see. And we're just going to, like, you know, we're going to just spread them out here. And we want to make it a single layer. You don't want to have it a clump like this. Now, if you have a big machine like this one, you know, with the 9 drawers, and you're only using a few of the shelves, you can take some shelves out, and then it gives it lots of room when I first got this machine, it was a gift from you.
It was.
It was. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is too big. But I'm glad that we have this size because I can take out a few drawers and put things in there in bowls, and it's a lot of flexibility. Okay, so does that look pretty good, single?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna put that in the dehydrator. We're not gonna turn it on because it'll make noise, and I wanna be able to make sure that you can hear me, but you're gonna put in all of your nuts, cover it up, and then you can set it like we talked about. Or did we talk about that? That was the soaking process. So depending, I do it about 12 hours and then check it, and you can go until they are nice and dry, right? So we have some other ones that we can drain. This is the Spanish. Do you want to go ahead and do that, honey? Drain these?
Drain the almonds?
Or hold it? Yeah, you can do the whole thing, or we could do it together.
I'll do the whole thing.
Okay, well, let everybody kind of, well, yeah, go ahead and pour it through there so we can look at the water. I find that the water, you know, is really interesting how much comes out of there. Okay, so.
Coming back.
Okay. All right. Now, another reason you want to dehydrate them, here's the water. Look at, this hasn't even been here. I mean, it has been here for hours, but not 24 hours. That one's been here for about 12 hours. So go ahead and rinse that out. I'll put this here. Just spill it out, babe. And thank you so much. So dehydrating, I started saying, removes the water content and extends the shelf life. It preserves the nutrients when it's the low heat, and then, you know, or the low temperatures, I say, and then it makes them crispy again. So that is a really cool thing. And so we can go ahead and put these on another tray. Oh, wait, did you rinse these? Let me rinse these just so we don't forget. And I want you to, you know, these are Spanish almonds. The other ones were regular. If you're familiar with the Spanish almonds, I understand that they are a sweeter almond. Now, I want to show you the ones that we did, or that I did the other day. And why are these the white? Well, they're white because, so you can hear they have their crispiness back. Because when I was done soaking them, then I was going to lay them on the tray. Literally, the skin just peeled right off, just like this. And so I thought, well, that's kind of fun. You don't have to peel them, but I never did. And I thought that would be fun since it came right off. And then you can discard this or put it in your compost or whatever. Now, if you dehydrate these and you want to make almond flour, that's how they get it to be white. Versus sometimes I'll make almond milk and I'll have, you know, I hadn't been soaking them, so we had the brown shell on there, and it just gives it a little bit of a darker flavor, darker color. Like when I buy it in the store, it's so white. Well, because they take that off. They take the little cover off. So in case you didn't know that, now you know that. All right, so let's see. Any questions? What's going on in the chat, sweetie?
Tanya says I buy you the best gifts.
Oh, I got to show her the very first holiday gift you gave me when we got back together one of these days.
I don't know if you need to show.
No, he's very thoughtful, and yes. Okay, so we talked about rinsing them, draining them actually first, then rinsing them, spreading them out on the dehydrator trays, single layer. Remember, place them on the tray. That'll help them dry quickly and completely. Okay, we also talked about the temperature, 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius, what is that? 32 to 37, maybe 32, something around that. And this will ensure that the enzymes stay active, but it also provides the best conditions for that crispy crunch, that result that we all like. Now, I also say go 115 degrees Fahrenheit as the highest temperature that I like to go to dehydrate them. And then you can still consider them safe for maintaining you know, a raw or living food, right? And not damage any of the enzymes. And depending on the size and the density of the nut, you're going to want to go 12 to 24 hours. What is the best way to tell that they're done? Well, eat one. Is it crunchy? Is it still like, moist? That's the best way that I would say, and it's fun. So we also talked about if you didn't have a dehydrator. Well, and I talked about you can use the oven. You're going to want to use it at its lowest temperature. You can leave the door slightly open and just check it frequently. And it's not ideal if you're raw, but it's doable. So you can do it this way and keep the nuts and seeds in the oven for like 12 to 24 hours. Now, I personally wouldn't leave the oven on and go to bed. So I would just have it on for the duration. Let's say I'm going to be at home and I have a dense nut like a pecan or something. I have it in for up to 12 hours, checking it every half an hour or so. I would personally turn it off. And then in the morning, I would continue the cooking. I'm not going to just leave it on there for 24 hours, just in case. So, during that time, every time you check on them, you're going to want to stir them occasionally. I didn't really do anything to the ones in my Excalibur dehydrator. And I just, that's another convenient thing about it. I would feel comfortable to leave this on 24 hours. I would like to check it halfway through. But anyways, okay. So you want in the oven, you want to make sure that they're completely dry, right? Unfortunately, doing it in the oven does kill the enzymes, but you will also have nuts and seeds free from the enzyme inhibitors that we talked about earlier, and it will help with the absorption. It will help with digestion, again, just as a reminder, right? And so another thing I want to tell you is if you don't have a dehydrator or your oven doesn't go low enough, right? Which is, what is low enough? Very low. Okay, you can use the sun during the sunny months. So just set out a tray, just like we did here. You could put it on a cookie sheet or whatever and have it so that it's not, so that it's single layered, and you have the fully soaked nuts and seeds in the sunlight. Now, I would kind of cover it with a light cloth because I wouldn't want any bugs or dust or anything, but it's another option, right? So yes, Todd, go ahead. He wants to tell me something.
I was going to point out that Tanya says the Breville works well to dehydrate also.
Yes. I just happen to have the Excalibur. There are Breville ovens. I've got one in the corner here, but that one is an older one and it doesn't have the dehydrator feature. But yes, absolutely. There's lots of different companies, and Breville is a great one. And Tanya, thanks for letting us know how great it works. And that's what she uses. That's wonderful. Let's see. Okay, nothing else in there. Okay, so let's say you just can't be bothered with all this. You don't have time and you don't want to do it. Now, there is a company that I've heard of. I personally have not tried their products yet. Otherwise, I would have brought it on here and showed you. But it's a company called Wildly Organics. Okay. And you could check into them and see if that works for you. They offer pre-soaked and dried nuts and seeds. And I'm not sure if we have a link or not, but if we do, Todd will put it in the chat or in the show notes afterwards. Maybe you could just write it in here if you want, Todd, or are you able to do that? Not right now? Okay. All right. Well, anyways, we will get back to that. Wildly Organics. Okay. Like I said, I don't know much about them. I just soaked and dehydrated my own. So make sure you check the label and you know what you're getting, and just know that I just heard about it, right? Okay. So once they're crispy and dry, then you're ready to store them. So I did want to ask you guys, or see if there's any answers about, do you have a dehydrator at home? Or if you already soak your nuts, do you use the oven to dry them? Did anyone respond to that question? The chat's moving a little quick, so I can't go back and check. Can you?
What was your question?
Do you have the question earlier of, do you have a dehydrator at home? Or if you already soak your nuts, do you put it in the oven?
I think it was a little mixed bag.
Oh, let's read them. Let's
I
read them.
think
Go back.
some people are using, or somebody is using a
Let's
Breville.
go back, honey. No? Okay, he doesn't want to.
No, we're actually talking more right now about blanched almonds.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. Okay, well, let me just ask another question then. How do you usually store your nuts at home or when you're traveling or on the go? Do you do it a certain way? Because storing is properly is really key. And so once you're done dehydrating, then let the nuts cool off completely. You don't want to store them when they're still warm because that'll make moisture in there. So you want to make sure that they're completely cooled, and then you can store them in glass jars with tight lids or in a cool dark pantry for short-term use. And that's like what I have here, right? I have these jars with lids. Now, I also like to put them in the refrigerator. I don't store them in the dark cabinet. I keep all my nuts and seeds in the refrigerator. I do buy some from some places that don't store them that way, including Costco, but we have a natural grocer in our area, and I love getting nuts and seeds from them. Let's see, like they come in some of these little bags, and the reason that I like it so much is they store all of them, all the nuts and seeds, including the flaxseed and chia, in the refrigerator. And I think that that helps make it so it doesn't go rancid. Now, fridge, I'd say up to 3 months. Otherwise, put them in the freezer for up to a year, and I probably would just keep it indefinitely, but I want to say freezer up to a year. You can store the dehydrated nuts in an airtight container that way. And if they are thoroughly dry, the nuts will keep for a number of weeks in the pantry. But like I said, I prefer to keep everything in the refrigerator. You can extend the storing, like I said, in the freezer, which I think is fantastic. So you're going to also want to label your jars. If you're like me, I think, okay, I'll remember what this is. Well, I might probably most definitely will not remember what it is. And if I do for some reason, because I could tell that this is a walnut, I'm definitely not going to remember the date. So what I do is I have a little piece of tape. Some of containers have like fancy pens and stuff, but I just use a piece of tape, and I wrote soaked and dehydrated walnuts with the date 7/7/25. I just put these in here yesterday. And so I'll either keep them in this and make sure that this is safe to go in the freezer, or I'll take them out, the ones that I want to use in the freezer, and I will put it in a freezer container. Sometimes I might even do it through the food saver, which we like to do a lot of stuff as long as it's cool. So label your jars, right? So that you know what the nut is. Now, if you ever get your nuts like they're soft again, maybe somehow they absorb some more moisture, just re-dry them. Isn't that beautiful? You can just re-dry them. Okay, so I just want to talk about the seeds really quickly, but before that, let's taste a couple of these nuts. What do you think before we get into seeds?
Sure. I do want to say that Lisa saved the day. She does not have a dehydrator. Saved the day in that she answered the question.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so you don't have a dehydrator, and so if you wanted to do this, do you feel comfortable doing it in the oven? That's something that I would like to know. Okay, come on over, Todd. What we're going to do is we're just going to try a couple different ones. Okay, so I did not finish. We just have to rinse this one, and that'll be the last one.
Okay.
So let me do that. Now, here's some bags that we used. If you want to grab those bags and bring them up. Whoops, what happened to our
strainer?
The bigger one that you were using
It's right
a minute
here with
ago.
gallons.
Oh, okay. Thank you. See, it's good that we have each other to help. I'm just going to pour this out. So take the walnuts And you can show, I left a couple that we did not actually do anything with to compare, to just see if it tastes any different, right? And this is not big enough. So
you want me to take just the walnut? Couple
yeah, put them aside for us. I want to
All right.
show this water. Look at this walnut water. Look at how dark it is.
pretty
Isn't that
dark.
crazy? It looks like one walnut got left in there.
You got a floater.
Got a floater. So let me just rinse these a little bit. And I'm just going to get rid of that water. Okay, so take out the walnuts and almonds.
Okay.
And that's we'll just try the two. Okay.
Do you want regular organic whole almond or Spanish ones?
Oh, one of each.
One of each.
Or, you know, for us each. Now, just curious about the different flavors of that. Okay. Spanish. Okay, here we go. So these
are non-Spanish.
Okay, so these almonds were the regular ones. So let's try the soaked and this one that you just took out.
Yep.
So this is a regular almond. We just got it at the grocery store. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Yeah, it's just like you would expect an almond to taste.
Okay. Now this one is the one we dehydrated already and took the shell off. Do you notice a difference in this?
Say hi to Apple.
Hi, Apple. So happy you're here. I mean it. Much better.
It was actually pretty good. Yeah.
There is a bitter flavor in the first one that I never noticed before.
Yeah.
This is like just makes
a little sweeter.
Sweeter. And now it is not a full comparison because this one didn't have the skin on it. But I thought that that would be an interesting comparison. Now, let's try this just to try it, even though they're not already soaked. This is a Spanish. I was wondering, is there a difference between the Spanish? They say it's sweeter versus a regular almond. Let's try it.
Well, it's certainly softer.
Mm-hmm. Now, compare it to the first one that we did, not this one.
It is a little sweeter.
It's a tiny bit. I wonder what it's going to taste like dehydrated. Different. Okay. So if you were going to have your pick based on flavor only and not knowing that there's health benefits, do you have a preference?
I don't know that I do. I mean, there's definitely a very subtle difference in the flavor, but they're all fantastic. I mean, what could go wrong with almonds?
Okay. And I would go with this one.
Yeah.
I like this one better. I felt like it took away the bitter flavor that I didn't even know was there. I didn't even know there was a bitter flavor until I compared it. And it was so subtle.
Pretty good.
Okay, so now let's do the same thing with the walnuts. Then we'll go back to the chat just to share. These are the walnuts. Here you go, honey, that we got just out of the bag. They're organic walnuts. We got
this one.
Oh. Okay, these are the organic walnuts. We got those at Trader Joe's. So let's try those. Go ahead. Ready? Yummy.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Okay. And now these are the ones that we soaked, rinsed, and dehydrated.
Okay.
Let's try that. Go ahead. Take one of those and I'll take one and let's compare that. Gosh. Again, I feel like it's not this. I felt like the other one had a sharp flavor, and this one tastes better to me.
It's a much fuller flavor.
I really believe that. Not only is it beneficial for releasing the enzymes, and
I would never have guessed that.
It tastes great. It tastes better.
It does taste pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know that these pecans are going to be a hit with you once I get them in the dehydrator. We don't have them ready to go, but thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
For talking. Let's check
Let me know
the
if you
chat.
want me to come back up and eat more nuts.
Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. So let's just check the chat here. Apple a day. I want to officially again say hello. Oh, yes. She said, Todd is doing his best Vanna White with that bag of nuts. Yes. Are you guys eating a lot of nuts daily? Video 1000 nights? No, actually, I will speak for myself. I don't eat a lot of nuts, but I do eat a little bit of nuts. And Todd, you want to answer that?
I probably eat more nuts than you do, but I don't eat them like, by the pound. It's usually just by the handful.
And I do cook with them. Like I've been doing a lot more raw, although I'm not 100% raw by any means. And sometimes I make desserts with them using the raw nuts. I like to sprinkle some in my salad. And sometimes I just need a little bit of like an extra something if we're hiking. And so we do, but I've been focusing highly on the golden flax seeds, or the regular flax seeds that I have over there, and the chia, and even the hemp seeds. We didn't even talk about hemp seeds. You don't need to soak those, but that's right there. And those I really like because they have the high omegas, omega 3s, and that's really great for me personally, according to Dr. Brooke Goldner, in terms of helping with my autoimmune disease that I'm trying to get rid of. So anyways, any other questions that you see in the chat? Oh, Marley. Oh,
Oh,
go all the way down. Yep. Wow, I really want to try this. We'll have to go back and do some research for the different time and process. Yes. Or you can just do it like I do it and just kind of taste it, give it, a good 12 hours or so, unless of course you're talking about the cashews, which I wouldn't do. Okay. So I do want to talk about the seeds before. Is there any other questions in here?
nope.
Okay. Nope, there is a question.
Well, technically, there is a question. Yes.
Go ahead, read it.
Apple a Day asks, who's had fresh or green almonds?
Great question. Has anybody? I have not. I have not. I have been near a walnut tree and I have gotten walnuts, but isn't this interesting? I don't know if I still am, but I tested allergic to the walnut tree, but not the walnut. So have you apple a day, have you had fresh or green almonds, and what is that like? So anyways, Tanya says, I eat nuts and seeds daily, maybe up to a quarter cup, sprinkle in salad, smoothie bowls, oats, etc. Smoothie bowls, that's great idea. Yes, and we have done that before too. I love that. Whatever works, especially like I have a family member who is dealing with a cancer diagnosis and trying to gain weight. This is great if you're trying to gain weight, to put into your smoothies and to add as well. But I really like the idea of making it so that it feels better for the digestion and the enzymes are taken away. So now let's talk about the seeds. Can seeds be soaked? Yeah, many seeds benefit, just like the nuts. So what are we talking about? The pumpkin seeds, right? And I would say pumpkin seeds, I've been told, I haven't tried it yet, 6 to 8 hours. Sunflower seeds, a little bit less, like 4 to 6 hours. This is the soaking process. Now, chia and flax, totally different. The process is different for them because when you soak chia and flax seeds, they become like gelatinous. And that makes them unsuitable for the same soaking and dehydrating methods for like the almonds. But instead, they're typically soaked to create that gel, right? And then you can use them in recipes like puddings, or like chia pudding, or different things. Like I use flax with a ground up with a little water if I need an egg replacement for a recipe of some sort. That's like a flax egg, they call it. And so this is due to the very high soluble fiber content. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't do it. I know that there are some recipes for like flax crackers, right? Where you kind of mix it with stuff and it kind of gets gel. You're not soaking it for long duration. And then you kind of can spread it on your sheet or whatever, and then put it in the dehydrator. So there's some different rules to things, but soaking and dehydrating nuts and seeds, I got to tell you, it's easy. And not only easy, it's delicious. It's crispy, it's raw, and it's a great nutritious snack. So now let's check the chat, honey. How do people store their nuts at home when they're traveling or on the go? We asked that a while back.
We did, and let me just back up. Let's see. So Tanya stores them in the freezer. Lise stores nuts in the freezer, but they aren't soaked. Marley actually had a question about dehydrators, thinking it was a little off topic, but it's not, I don't think.
Yeah, let's hear the question.
I'll just put it up on screen for you.
Okay, I think this is a little off topic, but is a dehydrator with plastic trays bad? Microplastics? That is an excellent question. I have never seen a dehydrator without made any other way. You know, I don't know. Plastic is it's a it's a tough one because, you know, when it breaks down and it goes into our oceans and gets into our fish and wildlife and all that, it's bad. But that might be a great question to reach out to the Excalibur or other companies and talk to them about it, since I didn't dive into that, but I love the thinking behind it. Wouldn't it be great if it could be not plastic? I know the frames are. I'm not really sure about the white part that we put on here. This white part, that this, what do you call this, mesh? This, you know, this piece right here. It does feel like plastic, but it's at a low temperature that I would guess. I am not, don't quote me, I would guess that it isn't going to get absorbed into the food the same way as maybe a microwave would, or other forms of plastic. Anything else?
Yep. Tanya says just buy them and toss the bags in the freezer. Take them out when you need them, and that's when they get soaked. Marley keeps all opened nut and seed bags in the fridge. And they keep, Tanya says they keep forever in the freezer. Where's the other one?
Tanya said, I buy Costco nuts and I pop the bags in the freezer. Did you already read that one?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
So there you go.
Okay. This is great. This is great. Okay. So, so let's just do a quick recap. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, this we showed with the screens earlier. I think we covered pretty much everything. Oh, I did want to talk a little bit about this. I know we're running over a little bit. This is a black seed, and black seed is like a cumin, organic black cumin seed. You can soak these. I haven't done it, but I understand that you could soak them and dehydrate them. So that was interesting to learn about. And okay, so let's recap real quickly. Okay, so soaking helps reduce the enzyme inhibitors and the phytic acid, right? Dehydrating keeps your soaked nuts shelf stable and delicious, right? Seeds benefit too, the right seeds. Not all nuts need soaking, right? But most do. Store them properly to avoid the spoilage. And most of all, listen to your body. So if you feel better eating soaked and dehydrated nuts, that's your sign that it's working for you. So anyways, I just wanted to, you know, ask if this was helpful for you guys, to please give it a thumbs up or share the content with someone who could use the info. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you can go to thejenniferdiamond.com and sign up. You'll also find lots of other information on my website as well. And thank you for those who have subscribed here or to my newsletter. I really do appreciate it. And I love hanging out with you guys. Any last questions before we tune out? Just wondering. Let's give them a second here. And I've got a couple comments I can read. Let's see. Oh, somebody was talking about course. Scorpy taught me that. Kathy Hester taught me it. What are you wanting me to read that? Oh, okay. I use the Breville Oven Air Pro, says Tanya. to Marley. I use their stainless steel dehydrator baskets and just put parchment on them. Oh, they have, that's right, that's right. So you can get some that are stainless steel. I wonder if there are stainless steel things that could go in here, but if you're in the market and you're not interested in this, the Breville is absolutely amazing and it does so many things. I appreciate you sharing all of that, Tanya. Thank you so much. Let's see. Core Scorpy said, well, you taught me, so thank you. And in turn, thanks to Kathy Hester as well. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that we got to spend this time together. Appreciate you tuning in today. And don't forget to eat your greens. Even though we're talking nuts and seeds, it's so important to get your greens in. And like I always say, give plants a chance. Everyone take care, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.